When you multiply, the answer will be negative. Questions for this section? First problem in parentheses, -4. And in a second parentheses, -5. So this problem is -4 times -5. First thing we can do is multiply the numbers, ignoring the negatives. 4 times 5, which would be 20. And looking at the signs, both numbers are negative, so they have the same signs. The definition, when you have the same sign, answer is positive, so the answer would be positive 20. Second question. Inside parentheses, -8 times 7. Again, you can ignore the negatives when you multiply at the beginning. 8 times 7 would be 56. And to finalize your answer, you want to tell if it's positive or negative after you multiply. We have a -8 and a positive 7 with different signs. The definition, different signs, answer is negative, so the answer would be -56. Third question, -6, and in parentheses, 6. So we have -6 times 6. Multiplying, 6 times 6 would be 36. And looking at the numbers, we have different signs, one negative, one positive. Different signs when you multiply, the answer is always negative. In this case, -36. And last question for the section, 2 times, in parentheses, -12. And again, multiply, 2 times 12 would be 24. One positive number, one negative number. Different signs again, different signs when you multiply, the answer will be negative. So -24. Title of the next section and last section today, dividing integers. Two definitions for the section. First definition, same signs. Answer is positive. And the second definition, different signs. Answer is negative. Looking at these definitions, they're exactly the same as the previous section for multiplying integers. When you divide, if you have these same signs, both numbers are positive or both numbers negative, the answer will be positive. And the second definition, when you have different signs when you're dividing, one positive number and one negative number, the answer will always be negative. First question for this section, 45 divided by 5. Divided by 5 would be 9. Both numbers are positive, so the same sign means the answer is positive or positive 9. Second question, 63 divided by, in parentheses, negative 9. Just like multiplying, when you divide, you can ignore the negatives at the beginning and just divide the numbers. 63 divided by 9 would be 7. And we have different signs, positive 63 and negative 9. Different signs again, answer is always negative. Answer would be negative 7. Third question, in parentheses, negative 49 divided by 7. Again, divide the two numbers, 49 divided by 7 would be 7. And we have one negative number, one positive number. Different signs. If you have different signs, the answer is always negative. Negative 7. And last question for the section. In parentheses, negative 10 divided by negative 5. Again, divide the two numbers. 10 divided by 5 would be 2. And we have two negative numbers, so we have the same signs back at the definition. Answer is always positive, so our answer would be positive 2. Title of the first section today is Order of Operations. Order of operations is which operations, which includes adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and this will be the order that we do as operations in every problem in math. To remember order of operations, we'll have an acronym. The acronym is 6 letters. First letter is P, second letter is E, third letter is M, fourth letter is D, fifth letter is A, and last letter is S. The acronym, each letter stands for a word we'll get to in just a minute. An easy way to remember this acronym is to pronounce it PEMDAS. The P in PEMDAS will stand for parentheses. The E in PEMDAS will stand for exponents. The M in PEMDAS will stand for multiplication. The D in PEMDAS will stand for division. The A in PEMDAS will stand for addition. And the last letter S in the acronym PEMDAS will stand for subtraction. Again, this is the order of operations. This is the order from top to bottom that will solve mathematical problems throughout the year and in other math classes. We always do parentheses first, what's inside the parentheses. Second, we'll do exponents. Third, multiplication and division. And last will be addition and subtraction. One extra step on PEMDAS and something to keep in mind. Multiplication and division will be paired together, and also addition and subtraction will be paired together. What that means is we will multiply and divide at the same time, and we will go from left to right. Same thing with addition and subtraction. These operations are paired together. We will do addition and subtraction at the same time. And again, we'll do the addition and subtraction in order from left to right. What that means is if the problem has multiplication and division, whichever one comes first on the left side, we'll solve that straight through to the right side. Same thing with addition and subtraction. Any problem that has addition and subtraction symbols, we'll do both of them at the same time, but we'll start from the left side of the problem and work our way to the right. First problem for this section is 4 in parentheses 3 minus 8 and plus 7. Looking at this question, we have multiplication, 4 times the parentheses. We have numbers inside the parentheses. We have subtraction inside the parentheses. And we also have addition outside the parentheses. Following PEMDAS, the first letter P parentheses means we'll solve what's inside the parentheses first. So the 4 will stay the same. And inside the parentheses, we'll subtract 3 minus 8. Which is equal to negative 5. Different signs will subtract in numbers. 8 minus 3. 8 is the bigger number, so we'll keep the negative on there for negative 5. And plus 7 would come down. Continuing the problem, we have 4 times the parentheses, and we also have plus 7 outside the parentheses. Following PEMDAS, there's no exponents in this problem. And next is multiplication and division. So we'll do multiplication first, and addition will be our last step. 4 times negative 5 would be negative 20, and plus 7 would stay the same. Final answer, negative 20 plus 7 would be negative 13. We have different signs, positive and negative numbers, so we'll subtract those. 20 minus 7. 20 is the bigger number, so the negative stays on there. Second question is 9 minus 5 times, in parentheses, negative 3. For this question, we have subtraction, multiplication, and one number inside the parentheses. Order of operations, we always do parentheses first. What that means is we'll do what's inside the parentheses, which is only a negative 3, which cannot be simplified, so we cannot do anything else inside the parentheses. There are no exponents. Next is multiplication and division. So we'll multiply next, which means the 9 would stay the same. And we have a 5 with a minus sign, so this will act as a negative 5 times a negative 3. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. Whenever you multiply two negative numbers, they'll change to a positive. And the last step, instead of 9 minus the number, it changed to 9 plus 15. 9 plus 15 would be 24. Next question for the section is negative 8 plus 8 times 6 divided by 12. Again, looking at this question, we have addition, multiplication, and division. There's no parentheses, so there's no parentheses to solve. There's also no exponents. Next, in PEMDAS, we have multiplication and division. In this question, we have multiplication and we have division. Keep in mind you go from left to right solving those. So we'll do multiplication first, followed by division second. Negative 8 would stay the same. 8 times 6 would be 48 divided by 12. After multiplication, from left to right, we'll divide next. Negative 8. Positive 48 divided by 12 would be 4. And the last step, we have addition left. Negative 8 plus 4 would be negative 4. Different signs, positive and negative, so we'll subtract the numbers. 8 minus 4. 8's the bigger number, so the answer will stay negative. And the last question for the section is 4 minus 2 plus 20 divided by 4 times 2. Looking at this question, we have subtraction, addition, division, and multiplication. Going through PEMDAS, there's no parentheses or exponents. After that, we have multiplication and division. In this question, we have both multiplication and division. Keep in mind those are paired. We'll do them in order from left to right, whichever operation comes first. So the first operation between multiplication and division would be division, and then we'll multiply. So 4 would stay the same, minus 2 would stay the same, and then we'll divide 20 divided by 4, which would be 5. After division from left to right, we will multiply. So again, 4 minus 2 would stay the same, and 5 times 2 would be 10. After multiplication and division, we have addition and subtraction. And again, in order from left to right, subtraction comes first and addition comes second. So we'll subtract first 4 minus 2, which will be 2. Plus 10 comes down, and our final answer, 2 plus 10, would be 12. Title of the last section today is More Order of Operations. First question for this section. In parentheses, -7 plus 1 times 5 plus 4. Again, we'll continue to use PEMDAS. Anytime you have multiple operations in one problem, you always want to do them in the correct order by following PEMDAS. The P stands for parentheses. So again, we'll do what's inside the parentheses first. -7 plus 1 would be -6. Multiply by 5, and plus 4 would come down. After parentheses is exponents. There's no exponents. Next is multiplication and division. We have a multiplication sign that we can multiply. -6 times 5 would be -30. And the last operation is addition. -30 plus 4 would be -26. Again, if you have different signs, a negative number and a positive number, we'll subtract those. 30 is the bigger number, so 30 tells us that it's negative. Next question and last question for the section. 9 plus, in parentheses, -48 divided by 8 times 2 minus a -6, and outside parentheses plus 21. For this question again, we'll follow PEMDAS. The P stands for parentheses, so we'll solve what's inside the parentheses first. Since we have multiple operations inside the parentheses, we'll continue to follow PEMDAS for the order of operations. Inside parentheses, we'll do exponents first. There's no exponents. Next, we'll multiply and divide. Keep in mind you multiply and divide from left to right. So in this case, we'll divide first and multiply second. Outside the parentheses, the 9 would stay the same. -48 divided by 8 would be -6 times 2 minus a -6, and plus 21 stays the same. Continuing the multiplication and division from left to right, we have multiplication left. So 9 plus -6 times 2 is -12 minus a -6 and plus 21 outside the parentheses. Still working in the parentheses, 9 plus would stay the same. Last operation we have is subtracting a -6. If you remember from previous sections, when you subtract a negative number, the minus minus will change to plus plus or two addition signs. So the problem will change to -12 plus 6, which would be -6. Different signs will subtract the numbers. 12 is the bigger number, which tells us the answer is negative. Continuing the question, we have two addition signs left. And again, you do addition and subtraction in order from left to right. So first we will add 9 plus a -6, which will be 3. Different signs again will subtract. 9 is bigger, which tells us it's positive 3. Plus 21 stays the same. And our final answer will be 24. Title of the first section today is Translate Words to Symbols. In this section, we'll take vocabulary words and we'll change them into mathematical symbols and also mathematical operations. First question for this section is 10 more than a number. Again, we'll take this sentence and change it into mathematical symbols and mathematical operations. We have the number 10, more than. More than means higher or greater. In terms of math, more than can also mean addition or adding. So we'll have 10, and we'll add to that a number. In problems like these, when we do not know what the number is, and in other math problems that you'll solve, if you do not know the number, you can also use a variable like x. So 10 more than a number would be 10 plus x, or you could rewrite it as x plus 10. Second question for this section, 8 less than a number. In this case, 8 would be the number 8. Less than is a mathematical operation, which means smaller, or minus or subtraction. And again, a number, anytime we see a number, we can use the variable x. One trick to this question, if we want 8 less than a number, that means we want to subtract 8 off the number. So in this case, we'll put the number or variable x first, and 8 less than that would be minus 8. Next question for this section. The product of 5 and a number. The word product in math means to multiply. So this question will multiply the number 5 and a number which we do not know, but again we can use a variable x to represent that. So the multiplication of 5 times x can just be written as 5x. And last problem for this section, the quotient of a number and 2. In math, the word quotient means the operation division. So in this problem, we'll be dividing a number, which again, we do not know the number. We can use the variable x. We'll be dividing x and the number 2. Similar to subtraction, the quotient or division, you have to write those in order. We'll divide a number divided by 2. So a number we can use x and followed by dividing by 2. Title of the next section is Translate More Words to Symbols. Again, in this section we will continue to translate vocabulary words into mathematical symbols or operations. First problem is the product of a number and 5 decreased by 2. Again, the vocabulary word product means to multiply. So we're going to multiply a number, and again, if we do not know that number, we can use the variable x. So we'll multiply x by